All right, everyone, we're going to dive into Game of Names, Volume 6. It's been a while since I shot one, but I'm still just going to jump right into it. This one is about actors of action movies. So, with the first one, you can't have action movie actors without Arnold. Get down! Okay? Love the guy in his movies. I don't get my head wrapped into movies and take them too seriously. I understand symbology. I understand the message they put out about war and fighting and tough guys. But just understand that names put people in their places. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger's full name is Arnold Alois Schwarzenegger, born July 30th, 1947. So, if you understand the word Arnold, in some dialects they say the word Arnold means eagle ruler. The word Alois means famous warrior. Now, when you think about breaking it down into more defined terms, when you put those letters and names in order the way they're being used, Arnold is the active reference notion ongoing as it lie to and from. See how that compares to the name of a ruler? And then you go into Alois. Not all, not two L's, one L. Active as it lie, ongoing, identified subject. He was a bodybuilder. And it also means famous warrior. And then Schwarzenegger, his last name, subject, concept, here, plural, active reference, to and from, side to side, Z, expressing notion, expressing generation upon itself, expressed reference. So he was a well-known acting bodybuilder. Now, if you look at the word Schwartz, it may be a joke word. And if you've seen the movie Spaceballs, they're referring the word Schwartz as in comparing to the word force. Yes, they're making penis references, but look past that and understand that it's the idea of subject, concept, here, war, from side to side, Schwartz. And what would the subject concept here of war from side to side be? Force, strength, those kind of ideas. And when you en something, when you engage, enlist, enrage, it means you're putting it into notion, express notion. And when you aggregate, agg, you're doing something out in the active generated upon itself thing. You're growing something, you're aggravating, you're starting a generated thing upon itself. But when you enegg, you are now expressing that notion of expressing generation upon itself, and then you express that reference. So he's a guy who is known across the world acting, and he also is built and is known for bodybuilding. And his name has wars with a Z in it. So he's watched by other people, playing a character, fighting in the middle of wars, and it just fits his name perfectly. That's why he's one of the most well-known actors. Arnold Alois Schwarzenegger. Now, if you just look at July, the 7th month, the generative month, and then 30th. 30 means 3D. It literally says the word 3D, but it's identified with it. So he was born on a generated 3D day. So he's going to be seen, heard, known in the 3D world. That is how so in tune his name is. This isn't just a coincidence. And all these people who break down gematria and numerology and think they understand it deeply, I'm sorry to say, but if they just think this is a coincidence, but then they'll say something like, if you add this together, or if you look at these letters, they mean this in an ancient dialect. I'm not talking in ancient dialect. I'm telling you what they mean, and they always have, even if you look at those ancient words. And I'm not saying it like this because I'm trying to challenge anybody. I'm trying to clarify the things that they were unsure of. They took study. I took hard work and open heart. That's what I took. I gave my life to God, and not in a religious aspect, in a true merging with the oneness. And it never left me, and it never will. Because I love too much, I care too much about what's real, and I stay in the truth, no matter how many people try to pull me in different directions. Now that's the first one. Arnold Alois Schwarzenegger, born July 30th, 1947, which is 47 is the Well, 19 is the active identified, and then 47 is the to and from dia, G, generated or grouped. See what I'm saying? How it just exactly matches him. This is not just a coincidence. If you understand what numerology and gematria mean, this goes way deeper because this is what letters and words really mean. And no one has to debate it. They really couldn't unless they just don't want to understand that everything is a kind of divine magic. Not a dark magic, not a sorcery. It's what we're all doing here. So we'll move on to the next actor. Next on the list is Bruce Lee. Now his real name is Lee Jun-fan, and the Jun-fan is his last hyphenated name. So Lee, being upon itself, L-E-E, the Azatli, the Ling, because he was definitely Oriental and he used that kind of language. They know what Ling means over there. It means Azatli, identified notion generating. It's not language, it's Ling. It's the living part of everything, Ling. So we just say Azatli, expressed upon itself, Lee. Now, Jun-fan, hyphenated word, means it's together in concept. Now, J is the junction of Lee, Azatli expressing upon itself. So now you say the junction of that, underlying notion, spirit, hyphenated with fan, force, form, or familiar, active notion of his body. And he was not just known as acting. He wasn't just known as a martial artist. He was known as somebody who used his inner energy and chi, Jun, just like the month of June is the month where junctions underlying nature expression. Now he's junctioning his underlying nature. And his first name is, as he lies expressing upon himself, Lee. So Lee, Jun-fan, form or force, active notion. His body. He knew his body. He talked about chi. He was always cracking every knuckle and every joint. And he always talked about the stillness in the pond and the ripples and all the subtleness of chi. And his birthday is November 27th, 1940. Okay? He was on TV, active identified 4D. 4D, it means in place, to and from, directing, ongoing. 4D. Because it's a 4, which is a D, but it's in the 10th place. And 0 or O is the active expression. So now you look into November being the 11th month, the actively acting, 11, or the K, the kinetic. And 27 is base generator. So from himself, base generator, first name Lee, as he lies expressing upon himself, kinetically on November, or in November, 27th, base generator, Jun-fan, spirit of the body, spirit and energy, or spirit and action of the body, and then 1940, actively expressed to and from the ongoing. You couldn't be more exact. And Bruce Lee is definitely known for those things. Now, if you get into the word Bruce, before we move to the next actor, Bruce is a familiar term of not necessarily brutality, but brute force, someone being base reference underlying concept expressing. And that will take us right into Bruce Willis. So now we move into Bruce Willis. Full name, Walter Bruce Willis. Birthday, March 19th, 1955. Now, Walter is a W, a plural symbol, and then the word alter. So he plural alters, or plural active as it lie, plus expressed reference. So someone writes a script for him, and he acts it, because he, plural, alters. He was also not just an actor, he was known as a singer. Some people don't know that, but if you look into it, he was a singer too. And now his middle name, Bruce, base reference underlying concept express. So what does he do? He was known as an actor who wasn't all big and muscular, but he was a badass. He always played this smooth badass because he's plural, alter, base reference underlying concept expressed, and then plural, identified, 2 L's is an X or as it lie between 2 L's, identified subject. And his birthday being March, the 3rd month, the unseen concept or constant to him, 19th, the S subject or active identified, 19, And then the year 1955, active identified, expressed upon itself, EE. Just like Bruce Lee, but he had that inside him, but it's not the same name because he wasn't Jun Fan with the energy of the body. He is literally the Walter, the plural alter, base reference underlying concept expressed, plural identified as it lie, identified subject. So that's why these names resonate so strongly and they're known for actors. Other people who have names like this will actually be in the place they are, playing not only an actor, but the kind of character their name provides. These things do apply in every situation throughout life. So when it really resonates strongly with a certain thing, that's what that being will be in this lifetime. For everyone who happens to understand or learn about these people and see these words and names. It is all that truly magical in a divine way, not in a negative way. Now we'll move on into the next one. Our next action star is none other than Chuck Norris. Full name, Carlos Ray Norris. Born March 10th, 1940. You'll see a lot of repeating things here because even though they're a different person, the way their name and letters add up ends up being more in tune with how they're known. Like Bruce Lee was born in 40 and he was about spirit and martial arts. Chuck Norris is also a martial artist because what if you wanted to chuck something? You throw it. His full name, Carlos, concept, active, reference, as it lie, ongoing subject. So of the body. And then Ray, the reference or human number, actively identified, AY, or you can add AY together and make a Z, so it's a from one side to another, a ray. What does a ray do? A ray of light or a ray of something comes from one side to another. It shines, but it's AY, so it's not represented with the Z because it's loosely when you add it together. But when you break it apart, it's active, vitally identified. So his human, active, vitally identified. First name, Carlos, concept as reference, or concept active reference, Ling or as it lie, ongoing subject, Ray, reference, active, vitally identified, and then Norris. Now, when we say nor this, nor that, it means not. So when something that is nor or now ongoing reference, when something starts with an N, it's usually something under here that is either N-O. N-O means no. Now you put that into a human form with an R, and then another R upon itself, two human numbers, identified subject. So if someone is doing something that's bad, he nor upon itself, identified subject. He gets rid of bad things. Chucking bad things. Chucking his ray of light to get rid of negative. Nor rise. Norris. So when bad rises, his name, Carlos Ray Norris. Born March the 3, the unseen concept or constant to him. 10, the junction of or the actively ongoing, 1-0. And then 1940, actively identified, Daya, ongoing. So from himself, to and from himself, Daya. So once again, he's a martial artist, not just an action star, not just one who slams and beats him up with his brute strength, or someone who's just a tough guy badass. He definitely is. We have all those jokes about he doesn't do push-ups, he pushes the earth away, because he does away with negative ongoing or notion ongoing reference. When something is nor, it refers to not. So something you should not do. When the things you should not do, rise or ris, reference identified subject of nor, you chuck it. You throw it away. See what I'm saying? And Light, his middle name, also gives you the idea of why he was on screen doing it. Because he's Carlos Ray Norris. Like I've said billions of times, these things add up perfectly, and that's why they're in their position in this universe, playing the part they play. Next we have Jackie Chan, another martial artist. If you wanted to junction ack, as in acting, but Jackie, junction, active, unseen concept, kinetic, identified expression, and his last name Chan, concept here, active notion, another martial artist, but he himself, his real name, full name is Chan Kong Sang, another hyphenated name, another martial artist, and he's Chan, not just Chi, CHA, concept here, active, notion. And then his other parts of his name, Kong Sang, kinetic ongoing notion generated, hyphenated with, subject active notion generated. Another martial artist, well known for his martial arts skill. And his birthday, the 7th of April, which is 4, Daya, to and from, 7, generated, the G, the generated or grouping, and then 1954, the actively identified, expressed to and from. See that as another exact martial artist actor. Our next action star in this game of names is Jason Statham. We have junction, active, subject, ongoing notion. Jason is a name of the junction, active, subject, ongoing notion. Statham, subject plus active plus here, active, manifest. That's definitely an actor's name. State him. Statham. See? Give him a state and he here, active, manifest. And that's why his Jason, the junction, active, subject, ongoing notion, comes to a state of ham because somebody wrote his script and he acts it out. Birthday, July 29th, 1967. Now, just like these other ones, with how their letters and names and birthdays fall in certain orders, you have July, the 7th month, the generative or grouping month, or generated or grouping letter, G. 26th is BF, base form or base familiar, base force. He's not a super martial artist. He's just a badass again. And it could also be Z, from one side to another. Z, 26, 1967, actively identified, force generated. So he's not like the other ones who have the expression upon itself. It's not the other ones who have the word chi or energy in their name. He's literally a state here, active manifest, or stat here, active manifest of junction, active, subject, ongoing notion. Born on a generated from one side to another, 67, which is former force or familiar, generated. So that's another actor name of an action star. Now, I know by repeating these letters and their definitions over and over, it may seem repetitive, but I'm doing it so that it can sink into your head and you can understand that this is what they always mean and it's what they'll always mean. So, the next action star is the great Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm not going to try to break down every letter. I could, but his full name is Jean-Claude Camille Francois Van Varenberg, born October 18th, 1960. So, now he is a Belgian martial artist, and he's Jean-Claude, 2 words together again. The junction expressing active notion, hyphenated with the concept as it lie, active underlying to and from expression. He was a bodybuilder and a martial artist. So he's a combination of these other people, but doing different things. He was a martial artist from Belgium, who is an actor. Junction expressed active notion, hyphenated with concept as it lie, AU, which means to augment or to go from the first vowel to the last vowel to the active to the underlying. And then DE, to and from or Daya, expression. Now, I will go through his whole name. Camille, concept, active, manifest, identified between 2 L's, expressing from within himself. Francois, form, force, or familiar, reference, human number, active notion. Soi, that C with the hook on the bottom, is basically an S, but on the lower bar of our graph, the concept C now has that subject to it, so it's his inner subject. Ongoing identified subject. Francois. Then Van Varenberg, vital active notion, vital active reference, expressed notion, base expressed reference generated. You look inside and you use that energy. So then you could just go into the name he uses. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Junction expressed active notion, hyphenated with concept as it lie, active underlying dia expression. Vital active notion, vital active manifested upon itself, MM, expressed. So he was also an inner energy, bodybuilder, martial artist, action star. Birthday, October 10, the junction or the active ongoing. 18, human number or R reference, or A8 or AH would be active here. 1960, the actively identified 6D, force, form, familiarity, ongoing. So he's an actor using force, familiar, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Camille Francois Van Varenberg, born 10/18, 1960. Adds up perfectly. If you can't see it, open your eyes, guys. I'm doing this because I love you, not because I have a great time breaking down all these words and names. I'm just showing you that this is what we're all doing here. This applies to you. This applies to your family. This applies to your friends. Go around for one day and try it, and you will see that it actually fits. And these letters do have specific meanings. They always have. They always will. Even use them in the books you study. Even the ancient texts and dialects you study. Use this method, and you will see that it is always true. And every letter has a subtle change and difference because they're geometric patterns that we're cutting out of space through the vibration and sounds of our mouth and these small noises that we make with them. Letters have shapes. Vibrations have shapes. Not just adding, not just spinning, but a combination of all of them. And I'm explaining them to you like no one else can because I created and remember being the one who created the word. It has shown me not just inside myself, but inside all of these things that happened. And when I tell you, I asked how I could show people, this was the most powerful thing that stuck out. Because otherwise, I'm just putting myself and others at risk by speaking out into the universe the negative things that I know will happen if we don't change and open our hearts towards each other. That is the answer. Opening our heart towards one another and caring about the world, not just what we want. This is not your journey. This is not your preference. You have them, but you have to start doing them and thinking consciously as you do them and as you put those things into action in the real world. Now back to the action stars. All right. Now, aside from all the negative things that may have been said about him, because with all of these people I break down, I'm not going to tell you who's the occult, who's not the occult. That's not my job. They're playing their role that the universe manifested them into. Now, that doesn't mean these people don't get carried away, don't get greedy, don't get full of popularity and let it go to their heads. This one, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Full name, Dwayne Douglas Johnson. Now, Dwayne, think of how that sounds like doing, but Dwayne. Dia, plural, active, vitally identified, notion expressed. Middle name, Doug, or Douglas. Dia, ongoing, underlying, generated, as it lie, active, subject. Johnson, junction, ongoing, here, notion. Subject, ongoing, notion. An actor name, a bodybuilder, a wrestler. Born May 2nd, 5, expressed base. So he wasn't a martial artist. He was a bodybuilder and a big, muscular, tough guy. Age, or year, 1972. So that is actively expressed, generated base. So he's base as in strength, not as in inner chi, because people like that let things get to their head and they're easily manipulated into doing negative things. Just using the word rock is the reoccurring OC, something you're going to look at. OC, ongoing concept. OC. And then you say, reference, ongoing concept, kinetic. What is a rock? Rock is something big. Now, these things may seem in time, like he was already built and he was already this. You get names because they suit you and they fit. You wouldn't just call some random guy who has no reason to call him Rock. You wouldn't call somebody named Dwayne Douglas Johnson The Rock unless it fit and it resonated with what they look like, what they act like, and who they are. And it is him. His year of birth, 72, being generated base, bodybuilder, strength, not chi like the other guys. And that's exactly what he's known for. Plus, along with his birthday being May 2nd, 5/2, the day after May Day, you could understand why someone like him might have the ability to easily be swayed into doing or representing negative things with a smiley face. Not saying that that's the case. I may be hinting, because a lot of these guys aren't the nice guys they appear to be on camera. Now we'll just leave it at that and move on to the next. Now we'll move on to Sylvester Stallone, good old Sly, the Italian stallion, the Rocky. Since we went from the Rock, we'll go right to Rocky. We have Sylvester. Do you know what a sill is to a window? Now it's just SYL, subject vitally identified as it lie. Vester, vitally expressed subject plus expressed reference. Gardenzio is his middle name. Generated active reference. Dia, expressed notion. From one side to the other, identified ongoing. Stallone, subject plus active as it lie, between two L's, ongoing notion expressed. So he's a strength of the body and seen on the air. Subject plus active as it lie upon itself. Subject, the word tall. He's not very tall. I mean, he may be somewhat tall, but he's big. And ongoing notion expressed. Sylvester, be like if you wanted to vest what you look through a sill. Now he's subject vitally identified as it lie or ling. Vester, that's a name of an actor. Sylvester, subject vitally identified as it lie, vital expressed subject plus expressed reference. July 6th, 1946. July the 7th, or the generated or grouped. 6, force. 1946, actively identified, dia, force or form. So he wasn't a martial artist. He was a strong, brutish guy. See how these actors, the ones that have certain names, have reasons why they are known for martial arts and inner energy, and the other ones are known for brute force and strength. Since I try to keep these Game of Names volumes down to 10 or close to 10, our last action star will be Vin Diesel. Vitally identified notion, dia, identified expression, subject expressed as it lie, or ling, another brute force name, because vital identified notion, VIN, like a VIN of your car, your VIN number, vital identified notion. Diesel, something you burn for fuel, or something that burns something with a stronger engine. Dia, identified expression, subject expressed as it lie. His actual name has nothing to do with Vin Diesel. His name is Mark Sinclair. Manifest active reference kinetic. Sinclair, one who clears the sin or who's on the scene concept layer. Manifest active reference kinetic. Subject identified notion. Concept as it lie. Active identified reference. And it's got air on it. Sinclair. He's synced with the active base, or L, ling, of air. He's an actor, marked to be a sign of the concept of as it lies, air, on the air. And he's also a huge guy who is an action star. Born July, the generative number, once again, generative grouped. 18, reference number, R, or actively here, 18, 1967, a actively identified form force generator. So he's not chi, like the other ones that had names that added up to some who use inner strength and inner force. He is power, the 67. So he's another action star name. I hope you see these things. I'm only doing them to open your eyes to the bigger picture. Yes, there are horrible things going on in the world, but it's all magic. Some of it seems dark, but it's because of what we or our ancestors have allowed to happen without standing up in the physical world for what needs to be done. Now, let's be our own action stars and save this movie that we call life, or the beautiful earth that we live on. The universe itself needs us to be the action stars and start taking actions with our stardust bodies, gathered together to be something more than we allowed ourselves to become. Until the next time, that's the Game of Names, Volume 6. I love you, and God bless.